Hi guys, Danita here with Platt Family Fun. So, it is Sunday morning. It's rainy. It's like dreary. It's been raining for 2 days. And it's Sunday morning. It's early, not super early, but early. And everybody in my house is still quiet except for our second cat who is here at my feet. So you might hear her meowing. Um, Everybody is still in their room. My husband is here, but he's working on something upstairs in our bedroom, and the boys have not stirred. So I don't know if that's because they stayed up late on their iPads, boys, or if they are actually just getting some C's. But anyway, I decided to come and say hi to you guys. I've missed you all since a week ago. So guess what? I'm trying not to be loud. Guess what? I had my first homeschool review last week on Thursday, this past week, with our county. So I live in Maryland, and in Maryland, in the county that we live in, you have to either be part of a co-op that does the review for you and reports to the state, or your county school system does a review. Y'all, please excuse. You see them dishes? See that? My youngest child was baking, so I won't show you the rest. I won't do it. Anyway, so yes, homeschool review. So you have a winter review and a spring review. So I just did my first ever homeschool review with the county. It went really well though. It went well. I will say that it was nerve-wracking. My poor nerves. So we did it through Google Hangout, so that was nice. So it's interesting because I signed up for this review. I want to say the schedule came out. They sent an email saying, you need to sign up for your review. And excuse my eyes from watering. We have 2 cats, and I'm allergic to cats. They're sweet, darling things. They really are. But some days my eyes just really water. So you sign up for the review. I did that. And it said, your review is going to be someday in January, near the end of January. I signed up for the review in October, November. Well, it just so happened that I had jury duty on the exact day that I was signed up to go in and physically sit down with my paperwork and a reviewer. So I emailed them. The people in our homeschool office are lovely. They really are. They're so helpful. They're so understanding. They are so accommodating. I sincerely appreciate. Everyone I have dealt with has been amazing. So I was able to reschedule. She said, you can come in personally or we can do a Google Hangout. I'm like, yes, Google Hangout. Yes. So that's what we did. Google Hangout. And I had to have, I have friends who are homeschooling in the county and they do the review and they were like, okay, Janita, you need 2 pieces of work from each month for each subject for each kid. 4 pieces of work from each month. There we go. 4 pieces of work for each month for 2 kids. For each kid, for each subject. So now I'm like, kids, get your stuff. I'm trying to figure out dates. Gabriel stuff was kind of dated. Michael stuff, thankfully, they work in composition books and not in loose leaf paper. Because, honey, if I had to find little pieces of loose leaf paper, I just don't know. I do not know what I would have done if it wasn't a composition book. So we had the composition books, and then Michael, my youngest, is a much faster typer than he is writer. He got that honestly from me. My handwriting was horrendous as a child, and now I get compliments. When I was teaching and I wrote on the chalkboard, I got compliments for my handwriting. It just, one day the switch flipped, and all of a sudden I had great penmanship when I concentrated on it. So I'm expecting at some point for the switch to flip with that child, but it has not yet happened. So, thankfully, we had been doing assessments, and it's the kind of thing where you don't realize how much work you've done until someone asks you to pull it all from the east, the north, the south, the west, to pull it all together and present it. You don't really realize all that you've done or all that you're doing. So I'll be honest with you, I did not get through every subject. So they send out a paper that you have to fill out, the top part, and then the bottom part has like math, depending. So my kids are in middle school, so it was like math, science, reading, so reading, language arts, geography, social studies, and then like physical education, health, excuse me, music, and art. So I had things that I wasn't really sure where they fit. And I had not been recording any PE stuff. The kids go out and play. We do nature study. They ride their bikes. Gabriel was on a swim team, and so he goes and swims with my mother about once a week. Michael plays soccer, so he does soccer drills and things like that. But I had not been capturing any of that. So when I saw that form and it said physical education, I was like, I felt like I was being called to the principal's office and I was going to be in trouble. So the teacher in me, of course, wanted an excellent review, right? Like the student in me, the student in me wanted an excellent review. And it was a really good review. But of course, then the other part, right? So like I'm getting loud. So what's the word I'm looking for? The tension, or the other side of that coin, was, you're homeschooling your kids. I don't expect for the homeschool office to overstep their boundaries. This is what we're doing. It's, why do you need to check up on any and everything? You know what I mean? It's that whole, there's a little streak of something in probably most homeschoolers that feels like we're educating our children in the way that we are comfortable with and we have a lot of conviction about, blah, blah, blah. So at any rate, that is what happened. The homeschool review lasted about 45 minutes. 45 minutes. That's mainly because it was my first time and we were doing it via, laptop webcam. So I just showed them the work. I kind of just, held it up like this and just flip through the pages, and that was that. And she could see everything. She was reading and she was asking questions. She was awesome. So that was great. The assessments, showed them all of that. So it was really good. So I'll have another one in the spring where they want to see. And she stopped me. I was prepared to show her up until like this week, but she stopped me basically in January and said, your next review will pick up with January through, if your review's in May, then January through May. So that's that. Like I said, we didn't get to everything. She did add Bible. I told her we were doing Bible. She added that as an extra subject. I told her we were doing foreign language. She added that as an extra subject. But we have other books, we're doing. Are y'all doing the Fairyland of Science? Are y'all reading that book? That and All Creatures Great and Small. We're kind of doing that as like a science, nature study, kind of Charlotte Mason reading, and we kind of volley between the two. The kids and I are really enjoying those two books. We also are doing chemistry, but I only told her about biology, but we are studying the periodic table. By studying, I mean, I have an app on my phone called the Elements app. It was like a $9 app. However, it is so interactive, like on the screen. So it shows the periodic table, all of the elements move. So you tap on it, and then let's say you're looking at gold. They have gold off to the side and you can swipe it and the actual element turns 360 and you can see it from all these different angles, and it's really, the kids love it. Like they're like, can we do chemistry right now? I want to look at chemistry. So we're doing that also. I did not talk to her about Book of Centuries, Book of Mottos, Book of Doctrines. We didn't get into that. She didn't quite understand how we were doing spelling, but that was probably more on me and trying to explain it than on her. We're doing Charlotte Mason spelling wisdom. So the kids have a quote that they write down. For Michael, I write his down, and he traces my handwriting. Otherwise, the words will be kind of like all smushed together, all different sizes. So that is also part of his copywork and penmanship. And then Michael traces that one. That's how he studies his quote. Gabriel can spell anything. He really can. The child can just spell. So he normally copies his quote down, looks at it for about 10 minutes, then he says, Mom, I'm ready to do the assessment. Then I read it to him with dictation, he copies it down, and we're normally off to the races and done with that in 15 minutes. Michael normally takes 5 or 6 times to get his spelling right. The awesome thing, I think I said this before in another video, the awesome thing about that though is that becomes his recitation, because he almost always memorizes the quote because he's had to work with it so much. Gabriel's recitation, I think he is choosing a passage from Frederick Douglass' narrative of the life of a slave, where Frederick Douglass is talking about, so Frederick Douglass, y'all might already know this, but Frederick Douglass was born on the eastern shore of Maryland, and he traveled from the eastern shore of Maryland from one plantation to be a slave in Baltimore with a stop in Annapolis. We live 10 minutes from Annapolis. So when Gabriel read that, he was like, wow, he was right in Annapolis. And so as a slave boy, this happened when he was very, very young, too young to even know his age, because he didn't know what year he was born. He left the eastern shore of Maryland and stopped in Annapolis, and it was his first time seeing a city. It was his first experience sort of coming from only knowing the plantation that he was a slave on to now, as a slave, he's on a boat headed to Baltimore, and he stops in Annapolis, and his first time seeing anything like a city, anything like a town. And so it was an impactful, very impactful moment for him to stop in Annapolis. And then of course, we talked about, Gabriel was really, he was just really impacted by that. I think he could just kind of visualize. Frederick Douglass is like, almost being overwhelmed. And Annapolis is tiny. I don't know if y'all know anything about Maryland. It's the capital of Maryland, but it's tiny. So then, of course, we talked about, well, when he left Annapolis and arrived in Baltimore, what must he have thought then when he arrived in a port town like Baltimore? So that has been very impactful for Gabriel. So he has been doing a lot of copy work out of Frederick Douglass, and I think he's going to do a recitation out of it. So it's been a very good book for us. I recommend it for your middle school age, especially boys. Frederick Douglass, it's just a very, very good book. And a lot of the things he talks about now, he talks about his way out of slavery was being literate. And so we have talked about how literacy in other ways is also a passport to freedom, so to speak. So being financially literate. What about being literate in just kindness and just how do you treat people? So we kind of talked about it in the way of citizenship and the freedom in knowing that you've done right by somebody. So I recommend the book. Lastly, so yeah, okay, I wanted to tell y'all, I like to keep these under 15 minutes, and I'm at 13 minutes and 40 seconds. I wanted to tell y'all that I got Life of Fred Language Arts series. So, as if I need to add one more thing to our day. So exciting. So, it's called Australia. I needed to start doing language arts because Gabriel's headed to high school, and we need to kind of start talking about like sentence structure and that whole piece. So we're going to do this language arts program through Life of Fred with Dr. Stanley Schmidt. The boys love Life of Fred for math, so we are doing that with language arts. I will keep you posted. I've read the first half of the book. It is not taxing. It's Fred and his shenanigans, and it is very, very easy to process with a lot of good information. So, guys, it's time for me to wrap this up. Thank you, guys. I so appreciate your comments. I so appreciate y'all reaching out, y'all encouraging me, y'all leaving comments. I feel the love in this homeschool community, and I cannot tell you how thrilled I am just to be in touch with you guys. So can't wait to hear from you. Do you all have a review where you are? If so, how does it work and how does it go? And I will be back real soon to talk about some other things that we're reading and whatnot. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.